Thanks for joining us here on Real Estate Jerky. I'm your host, Ed Parcaut, president of Lending for Living, along with Marlene Chaplin, my trusty sidekick and co-host. We're on the road, keeping things real and relevant throughout Stanislaus, San Joaquin, Merced, and into the foothills. Our studio is wherever we have a solid Wi-Fi connection, and our fabulous engineer, Mike Murray, and also the incredible signal of iHeartMedia and this station, KFIV. We always bring you something to chew on here at Real Estate Jerky. The topic of the day that always revolves around real estate and investing in our communities. And during this election season, we've taken on the task of educating our friends on KFIV and Real Estate Jerky about our candidates, who they are, what they are running for, where they're running for, and what they stand for. If you have any questions, please text or call me at 209-404-1915 or email us at radio@realestatejerky.com. Hello, Marlene. I'm starting to think I'm sorry. Hello, Let me try this again. Hello, Marlene. Let me try one more time without the laugh. Hello, Marlene. I think I'm starting to detect some bias in you.
You know what, Edward Parcaut? I don't know what you're talking about. Me? Biased? No. Opinionated? Yes. And I definitely have lines that I will not cross. So yes, if that makes me biased, so be it. What made you bring that up anyway?
Well, first of all, you called me by my full name.
Edward. That's right.
Edward Ray Parcaut coming.
Edward. That's right. I sound like your mom. You know, I was thinking about that the other day. I could almost be your mom.
No, you can't, but nice try.
To
the nature, let's get on with the show because people wanted us to know about that. I think it's the nature of the candidates and what they stand for and how, in some cases, what we do become biased. But use your grandfather saying about voting your wallet. I remember you saying that like one of the other shows, and it's basically what my grandfather said. Or is that what you told me to say to you?
I like that your grandfather told you that. My grandfather would not tell me that. I think it's brilliant. Voting your wallet.
There was two things he told me as a kid. One was good and one was bad. The first one is always vote with your wallet. The second one is marry a woman you can't get your arms around. So
well, that's because
always love you and never leave you.
He was Portuguese, wasn't he?
Yes, he was.
Yes, they were firm believers in the way to a man's heart is through his stomach. Yeah, for sure. And she better be able to cook. But voting your wallet, if people the last 20 years had done that in California, heavens to Betsy, where would we be?
We wouldn't be at almost $7 a gallon gas.
Wait, but we have this giant surplus. We can just hand it out, right?
Well, it's funny is every time that something happens, our current government says it blames somebody else that they're doing it because they're greedy, right? The meat prices went up because the meat people who cut it up, the packers, they're greedy. The oil prices are going up, and the gas stations are going up because these people are greedy and they're taking advantage of the situation. And the problem is,
you cannot pay people $15 an hour, entry level kids. Really, you can't pay them $15 an hour and not expect all of your basics to go up exponentially.
Yeah. Well, you look at the inflation where we're at now and where everything's going. I called the Mike Douglas show earlier this week because I received an email from Josh Harder that says, "Hey, daylight savings, do you want to stay on it? Yes or no?" And I'm thinking, wow, that's the deals that we're dealing with today. That's the most important thing we need to deal with is daylight savings, whether we stay on it or not. I think you guys need to really focus on what the problem is. The problem is we're overtaxed in California and we're underrepresented.
Yeah. You're listening to Real Estate Jerky here on PowerTalk 1360 KFIV with our host, Ed Parcaut, MBA, veteran, mortgage advisor. And you know what? He's a good friend, Ed, and he's the president of Lending for Living. So if you want to reach out to him, and he's got some great products right now. I think one of the really excellent ones we were talking a little bit about off mic about, being over 62 or not Ed's a young guy. I'm the old one, about reverse mortgages. If you haven't looked into that and you don't really know what your situation is, might be the perfect thing for you. You can reach out to Ed at 209-404-1915. That's 209-404-1915, or visit him at lendingforliving.com. So I touched on reverse mortgages there, Ed, but we were talking politics too.
Can we stay on reverse mortgage for a second?
Yeah, because you know what? I think people that were planning for the retirement, their plans blown out of the water with the current inflation, for sure.
And they're saying this inflation is worse than we know it. It's going to be here for 3 years or more now. So that's, if you're on a fixed income and you've paid off your house, or you have a little loan on your house, you might want to look at this as a protection mechanism, meaning that you apply, you get the program, you take some proceeds now, and then you keep the rest of it on this equity line that you can, and then you can draw it when you need it. It just as a just in case scenario, because you never know I have no idea where we're going now with what's going on out there. This is shocking to me. I've been around a while, but never been around this long to know what's going on. But this is going. I feel this is going to be worse than the 70s if it keeps going the way it is.
Well, having lived through the 70s, I'm going to tell you what. And here's the thing: when you do, unless you've lived prime interest rate at 17% and trying to buy a house and do business when your staples are a fortune, when gas is being rationed, and all of the things, the world was on fire, Vietnam was still full force. So for me, Ed, a lot of this feels very similar. And it's very, very, very frustrating. And for those of you out there, don't wait until you're completely behind the 8 ball. Here's the thing with the reverse mortgage, or some of those things that can at least get you in a better position. You have all this equity right now that you've never had before, right, Ed?
Correct.
And the interest rates are still low. Neither is a guarantee. Well, in a market like this, neither is a guarantee.
No, I mean, rates have moved up and they keep moving up daily. But with the reverse mortgages, they're based off of, 2 of them, the FHA, are based off of adjustables. And then there's a fixed rate, and then there's another fixed rate. But what people don't understand is, say that you do it and then you don't really need it, you can make the interest pay yourself back that interest portion, or, take that money and pay it back and give it back to them. You don't have to use it. But I'm telling people, get it on there so that you're set with the values where we are now, because we have no idea what. Right. I mean, I saw an article this week that said new home sales are going to drop by 25%. Right. Scary article. I did a live on Thursday, and basically this is the statement we always say about headlines. If this happens, if this happens, we're already there. Basically what they're saying is, by the end of summer, we're going to drop 25% on home sales. Well, they're just not going to be in inventory. That's how last year we were down 12%. This year we're going to be down 25% because there's lack of inventory.
There's no
the numbers
inventory.
Came out this week about new home sales, and they're saying they're down. Well, the problem is, if you look
what are you going to buy? Yeah.
Well, they're there, but they can't finish them. You can't move into them because they don't have the product to finish the houses. They're in that phase where they're sold, but they're not completely sold to be able to close. So we're going to have this huge event happening probably in June, July, or August, where they finally get all these supplies and finish all these houses, and then we're going to be record high numbers of sales. It's statistics. Mark Twain said, there's lies, damn lies, and statistics. So
that's right. Or what you always say, what is it? Numbers don't lie.
People do.
Yeah, that's yep.
The other thing, since you said Zig Ziglar last,
I love Zig.
He has, my favorite quote from him is, treat your significant other like a racehorse and never have a nag. Everybody goes, what do you mean by that? Anyway, figure it out.
Oh boy. Yeah. Zig was great. He was one of my favorites, one of my all-time favorites.
Well, I tell people these days, you need to listen to the old guys to understand how to do soft skills, everything that you've not learned. And so I know we're going to have Vicky on. I don't know if we're going to talk about this, but I think they need to have a sales class there if they don't have any, something like that, because that's so important, how to talk.
Well, you know what? Our guest coming up, he's running for politics. He's a young guy. He's fabulous, but he's got this total baby face. So what I hope is that people will really listen to what's coming out of this kid's mouth, and what he's done already, what he does. Because his good looks, he's a Hispanic Opie He is. He's just got this baby face, but he's a bright, hardworking, conscientious, really good politician. Yeah. So we're making good on our promise anyway, to educate you about our local candidates. So when we come back, you're going to meet today's guest, our candidate for California State Assembly District 22. That's District 22. So pay attention. And yes, that includes all of the city of Modesto, Turlock. And so it's for you, most of our signal out there. Joel Campos. If you have questions, and I really hope you do, please dial Ed at 209-404-1915. That's 209-404-1915. Ed is our host. He's an MBA, a veteran of the U.S. Navy, a mortgage expert, and president of Lending for Living. And when we come back, we'll be tapping into another aspect of Ed, and that is very dedicated American. So some might even say a patriot. So keep listening right here on PowerTalk 1360 KFIV and be ready to know who you're voting for. We'll be right back.
You can change the way you live out the rest of your life with our new reverse mortgage products from Lending for Living. Our loan limits are the highest available. Call us today at 209-846-9270 or visit lendingforliving.com.
Welcome back. I'm Marlene Champlin, sidekick to our host, Ed Parcaut, here at Real Estate Jerky on PowerTalk 1360 KFIV, where we always give you something to chew on. You got questions or comments for Ed? Just dial 209-404-1915. That's 209-404-1915, or visit lendingforliving.com. And now it's my distinct pleasure to introduce you to an incredibly dedicated and motivated candidate for California State Assembly District 22, Joel Campos. Hello, Joel.
Hello. Good morning. Good morning, Ed. Good morning, Marlene.
Hey, Joel, thanks for joining us today. Hey, I normally don't read her script, but I saw that. I want to thank you for your service. What service were you in?
I'm actually still serving. I'm in the California Army National Guard. And Ed, thank you for your service. I saw that you're a Navy veteran. So thank you. And thank you, Marlene, for you guys' support. I appreciate it.
All right, now you get all quiet. So can you move that mic a little bit closer?
Oh,
to you?
Is this better?
Yeah, you got to love that mic in that room.
So. Okay.
As they say.
Got it.
All right, so you're locally born and raised and grew up in West Modesto, multi-generational Latino home, attended, is that Martone Elementary?
It's Martone, yep.
And so I want to get off script for a second. So you've been here pretty much your whole life, right?
Yeah.
Basically. What do you love about our area?
Besides my family, all my family's here, all my friends, I always hear, the best part of Modesto is the people. And I believe that's a fact. That's true. It's a great community. I did live in San Jose for about a year and Sacramento for another year. And, I just wanted to come home. So this is my home. So.
Because pretty much Modesto, they always say 6 degrees of separation, all this stuff. Modesto's a 2 degrees of separation, I always say, because everybody who knows everybody. You one person away from somebody, and it's even better when your family's from here. That now you're connected even more to the area.
Going to the grocery store.
I wanted to get into your. I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say, I was at the grocery store recently and I told someone, I know that person. They're like, me too. And I'm like, where do you live? Well, I'm like, on this street. And she's like, I live on that street too. And then we became friends after that. So it's very tight knit.
All right. So I want to get into, you joined the National Guard, the California Army National Guard, and then deployed to Kuwait and Iraq as a door gunner on a Chinook helicopter.
Yes.
Which, these things are not the safest things. So I'm sure your mom was not very happy with you.
No, she wasn't. No, she didn't want me to go. But the state.
How about when you were doing a door gunner on a helicopter?
Yeah.
Like being a gunner on a freaking Bradley or whatever.
It's a little bit different. Yeah. But what the state was looking for folks for volunteers. And so I rose my hand. I was already serving and they needed folks to deploy. So, I jumped on it. So.
Well, I always say on the show, and I always say everywhere, that I think in politics, the best people to be in politics are veterans because they know how to work with other people. I've had some pushback from a few people who were not veterans, and I still say the same thing. I think that veterans can work with, I don't care if you're a Democrat, Republican, Independent, whatever, if there's any other parties, I don't know them right now, but you can it doesn't matter. You will work together. You'll get around issues. You can take the emotion out of it and actually have a conversation. And I think that's really important. And we have a lot of veterans running for these offices. And I want to talk about what office you're running for now. You're running for District 22, correct?
Yes. Assembly District 22. It's right here in Modesto. It's Modesto, Ceres, Turlock, Patterson, and Newman. And then it goes into Merced a little bit and takes the towns of Hilmar and Gustine. So it's
Get the Portuguese people together.
Yeah, there's a lot of Portuguese people. It's good. Yeah.
Did you know I was going to start a Portuguese radio station up here?
Really? Well, I'm going to be going to all the festas.
Festas?
You know, coming up this summer.
You know the dance, the chamarita?
Say again?
So you need to learn to dance the chamarita.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. My wife and I. Yeah.
Other people here. My grandfather's Portuguese. That's the closest I've been came to Portuguese.
Okay. Well, yeah, so that community is in the district. So I'm super excited to engage with the Portuguese community and attend those events. So and hear from them as well.
You're listening to Real Estate Jerky here on PowerTalk 1360 KFIV with our guest, candidate for California State Assembly, District 22. That's us, people. Joel Campos. You can reach out to Joel at Campos4 Assembly.com. That's Campos 4 Assembly.com. And if you'd like to talk to our host, Ed Parcaut, MBA veteran and mortgage guru and president of Lending for Living, you got to dial him up because he'll answer at 209-404-1915. That's 209-404-1915, or visit lendingforliving.com, or you can email us at radio@realestatejerky.com. So, Joel, one of the things that kills me about what you, when you're running, and Ed's touched on a lot of it, your local hometown, you love Modesto, you love the area. The fact that you were laughing and know the Portuguese community that well. In fact, you were instrumental, but that's another thing. And I don't know, I don't want to use up too much time about that, but you were instrumental in making sure that all of us got to stay together out there. And Gustine, when you petitioned the redistricting committee. And I thought that was brilliant. Good for you. But one of the things that I want to touch on a little bit more is what you do for a living right now. So you're still serving as a National Army National Guard, but what do you do?
So what do I do as my day job? Yeah. So
day job.
It's kind of hard to talk about, but I'll try to be as clear as possible. I'm an associate regional planner, and people are like, what is that? So I work for a regional agency, and we receive state, federal, and local sales tax dollars, and we distribute that to the cities and the county of San Joaquin. So I work for San Joaquin Council of Governments, and so and I'm a planner, and so but primarily we focus on transportation projects. So but just like a quick example, we had a pot of funds, like $18 million. I'm really proud of this, by the way. So that's why I'm going to talk about it real quick. We had a pot of 18 million for safe routes to school projects and bike and ped projects. And so all the cities competed for it. And I got a committee of 7 folks together, and we scored all the projects, and we were able to fund 14 of the over 20 projects that were submitted. So like in Escalon, my agency, because of that process that we went to, they're going to be funding revamping their main street there in Escalon. There's going to be a lot of projects in Manteca, throughout Manteca, for safe routes to school projects because of that. There's a street or a road in Tracy that we funded. And so I guess I'm really proud of all that, because I actually did that and facilitated that process while I was deployed or mobilized for the National Guard in DC. And so, I was at a hotel room in DC, and I was like facilitating a committee, and we were scoring all these projects. And then afterwards, like I had to go on shift to go patrol around the Capitol, and then and come back and then draft up a staff report for my board here in Stockton to discuss and take action on. So like that's kind of what I do. I draft plans, policies, contracts with cities and the county of San Joaquin. So
I'm just amazed that the name of it actually matched it. That's I was listening to a local radio show and they were talking about the gas tax, how it didn't pass because you didn't force it, and they didn't bring up the fact that you had to vote yes to keep it when they know for a fact everybody votes no on any tax automatically, just no. And so they changed the name, just like Safe Neighborhoods had nothing to do about safe neighborhoods and it let felons out of jail early and all that stuff. I'm just glad the name of what you did matched what you did.
Safe routes to schools, active transportation.
Yeah.
Yes, we actually yes, that's what it was for.
All right, how did that tie into running for District 22?
Yeah, so I think it kind of made things a lot pretty easy. We talked about the National Guard, and I have the leadership skills. I'm a sergeant first class there, and so like you said, we accomplish tasks with folks that may or may not like us, but we get the job done. And then, but San Joaquin Council of Governments, it gave me the programming experience, the funding experience, crafting or drafting policies, and then drafting planning documents. I actually facilitate 2 committees there right now. And so all of that gave me that government experience. So when I go to Sacramento in November or December, it's not going to be foreign to me, like the way the rules and things like that. So my work really, I think, is what's going to make things easy for me. And then right now I serve the people of San Joaquin County. I want to serve Stanislaus. I live in Stanislaus. My family's here. My friends are here. And so, that's what I want to do. I want to represent Stanislaus in Sacramento.
Wow. Did you have anything there, Marlene?
I have tons.
Thank you. You're very quiet today.
I want Joel to get a good opportunity. I'm going to say something that when you meet Joel, he just looks like this young, he's just this young little, he's got such a baby face. He's a Latino, obviously. And he's very family. And then when you see him with his little kids and everything, you think, you have to know who he is to understand what a powerhouse he is. And yet at the same time, someone who is really going to be able to work together, because what I fear with all of these brand newbies, and there's still plenty of oldies up there, is chaos. I fear that. And Joel, we've talked about that, you and I.
Yeah.
I really fear that most. We need things to get done.
Yeah.
We don't need any more polarization.
No.
We don't need
no
any
finger
more
pointing.
We don't need any more platitudes. You know what we do need to do is I've got to take us out from that word. I can't use that word. So are you ready to save California?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
It starts by deciding what that means and what you can do yourself to affect that outcome. And then by educating yourself about all the candidates and about the issues and voting. So today we're getting to know Joel Campos, candidate for California State Assembly District 22. That's us. You can reach out to Joel at Campos, the number 4, that's camposforassembly.com. Real estate and mortgage questions, you need to reach out to our amazing host, Ed Parcaut, mortgage guru and president of Lending for Living at 209-404-1915, or visit lendingforliving.com. We've got more with Joel Campos, candidate Assembly District for State 22, when we come back. So don't go away.
Our new reverse mortgage product limits can change the way you live out the rest of your life.
This is Real Estate Jerky on PowerTalk 1360 KFIV. I'm Marlene Champlin, sidekick to our amazing host, Ed Parcaut, MBA veteran, mortgage guru, and president of Lending for Living. And we're talking to Joel Campos, candidate for State Assembly District 22. And Joel, before we went off so that we could listen to commercials.
Pay the bills.
No, not mine.
No, the radio stations.
The stations. That's right. Because we love. That's right. We were talking about what your experience as far as getting to Sacramento, what you'll do. What are the top 3 things that I mean, I know there's many things. We've already talked about some of the things you know about, but what are the top 3 things for Stanislaus County and District 22, which includes parts of San Joaquin and
Stanislaus and Merced. Yeah.
And Merced, yeah. What are the top 3 things? I mean, if you just had to narrow it down.
Yeah, no, and yeah, there are a lot of issues, but for me, the top 3 right now is public safety. You know, I live in my neighborhood. I live in the Highway Village in Modesto, and so it's not the safest. And so, you know, public safety is very important to me. I want to raise my children in safe neighborhoods. So that's number 1. Cost of living. It's just extremely expensive right now. It's out of control. And then, you know, giving parents back control of their children, giving back their rights as parents to make decisions for their children. So those are my top 3. And then, you know, number 4 would definitely be, because I want to throw it out there, you know, supporting our ag, supporting our farmers. And we all know that's super big. If you're in the Central Valley, that's always going to be on the top. So, but those are my top issues right now that I want to focus on.
I have a question. How do you do public safety? How do you fix that?
Yeah. Well, I think we got to stop handcuffing the police. We definitely, you know, top priority is repealing Prop 47. You know, you even hear Democrats saying that, you know, we need to make some changes, you know, and so, hey, let's capitalize
because
that.
Because they got to drive to the CVS now in San Francisco. They can't get it down. They can't walk down there anymore because they're all gone.
Yeah, once it starts affecting them, huh? But yeah, so you know, you're hearing it, you know, from everyone, and so we really need to make that change happen now. So I think that's number 1.
All right, but okay, so that's one change, right? But for someone who doesn't live in your neighborhood, what you just said is not the most safest neighborhood. How do you fix that? How do you make that more safe? Because we hear from, you know, the extreme left or wherever we hear that police are bad. We don't want them in our neighborhood.
Crime is down.
Yeah.
Crime is down.
Well, that's because no one's reporting it. Yeah. That's because you're not reporting it.
Yeah. I mean, when there's gunshots on my street for the last 2 years in a row, you know, I don't see that. And so you're talking about police, and I really think we need to fund the police, not defund the police. You know, we need to provide more training for them if that's what they need. We need to give them more opportunities. You know, their morale. I mean, I'm in the Army, so I understand about morale and lifting up folks' spirits to complete the mission, accomplish the task. You know, and so their duty is to go out there and keep the peace. And so we need to keep their hopes up. You know, we need to think about them and their concerns. And so I am really pro law enforcement. I think we need to support them more, you know, give them more opportunities, and fund them, you know, legit. We need to fund them. You know, they need to live in our communities as well. So, I mean, when folks have to live like an hour away from the community that they're policing, that's not good, you know? So yeah, that's one thing. That's one way I think we can support our communities.
You're listening to Real Estate Jerky here on PowerTalk 1360 KFIV with our guest candidate for California State Assembly District 22, Joel Campos. You can reach out to Joel at Campos for Assembly. That's Campos, the number 4 assembly.com. And if you'd like, we are going to talk about real estate eventually. We really are. I think we're kind of going in that direction right now. So if you've got questions for Ed, dial him at 209-404-1915. I want to keep going with that. The safety thing. The other thing that Joel, when you and I have talked, that is really important. We have a whole community that really needs a lot of improvement, and that's West Side, South Modesto. I mean, they need sidewalks, they need street lights, they need to be incorporated. I mean, talk a little bit about that if you don't mind.
Yeah. So, well, specifically on the safety part, you know, if folks are, you know, in the nicer neighborhoods, you know, they're reading the newspapers and seeing crime and theft. Well, you know what? If they're seeing that in their nice neighborhoods, imagine what's going on in the in the low income, the disadvantaged communities, so I believe that, crime is even higher there. And that's why they're seeing a spillover into the nicer, typically more safer communities. And so we need to address the safety concerns, especially in our disadvantaged, low income, unincorporated communities. And so, I grew up in West Modesto. I was raised there as a child. And so I even have property there as well. So I'm still tied to that community. All my friends, they live in South Modesto because I went to Thomas Downey High School, go Knights. And so most of the folks that live in South Modesto off Crow's Landing, they went to Downey High School. And so I got a lot of love for that side of town. And I really want to pay attention to that side of town, because we're a region, and we got to think about ourselves as a region, not size of towns. And so we all
amen.
need to be
Thank
uplifted. Say again.
Thank you.
She said amen.
Thank you. Yes.
And I'll be real quick. A lot of folks are moving into our region, and they're buying up these houses. And so our families, our children, they're having to buy their first time homes where it's more affordable. And where is it more affordable right now in our communities? In South Modesto, West Modesto, and in the unincorporated areas. So those are our kids, so folks need to think about that. Our kids live there. And so we need to bring that area up so that our whole area can prosper. So I really want to focus on those communities when I go to Sacramento.
All right. So I saw on the little thing here, you were repeal some of the residential new home construction requirements, right? You talked about affordable housing. And one of the biggest problems in California, not only are we doing it here to us, we're doing it to other states as people are leaving and moving other places. So this is a normal evolving, but how do you fix the affordability issue in California?
Yeah,
just talking our area. Forget Cal.
Yeah, our area. So I just, in the Central Valley here, Modesto, Turlock, Stanislaus County. But, I really think that we need to deregulate housing. You hear from the state that they want to build more housing and more affordable housing. Yet when you're piling up regulations on the builders, and increasing the requirements on housing, that's not going to make it affordable. So, right now, what do we have? Like every new home has to have a solar panels on it. They have to have automatic sprinkler systems. Like all of these materials are expensive and they drive the cost up. So we need to, reduce those requirements or waive them for a certain period of time so that we can, build affordable housing. That's affordable.
Well, I want to go to that
everybody.
The solar thing, the builder's not even paying for that. The person buying it has to lease it or buy it themselves outside of the house. I always thought it was going to be part of the house. But before we go, this isn't the first time you ran, correct? You ran in 2020?
Correct.
Right. What did you learn from that election cycle that you can use in this election cycle?
Yeah, I learned a lot on that one as my first go around. But I really learned that going door to door does matter. That matters a lot. And reaching out to the Latino community is going to be a big deal. I think Republicans need to really address that and need to go after the Latino community. And so those are some of the biggest things that I learned on my campaign trail from 2020. And then also that people are hungry for change. I mean, I was a write-in candidate in 2020, and to get to the top two and get over 40% of the vote as a write-in, that just means that people are really looking for some change and some relief and some stability. That's what they're looking for. So
you have some heavy contenders. I don't want you to get away from here without telling us all what makes you the best one. What makes you the best candidate, Joel?
Yeah, I think what makes me the best candidate, I think I'm approachable, but I also have leadership skills from the military and knowledge about policy. So I think I'm a complete package. And also not only that, I'm from this area, born and raised, and I live in my community. So I see what's going on a daily basis. So I can relate to folks. I'm a parent, I'm a husband, and I'm an employee. And so all of these things, I think that's what matters And yo puedo hablar español un poco. And so I speak a little bit of Spanish. Votar por mí, por favor. Vote for me. And so, yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there.
I only know dos cervezas, but anyway. No, I do know more, but that's just anyway. The biggest thing I see that is if you look at the vote for the candidates who actually live in your neighborhood. How about that?
That's
Not
right.
people, because that's the biggest problem I have is you don't have to live in the district that you're running for. Well, how do you know those people are in that district if you don't live there, aren't part of the community, aren't there? So I think it's really important to do that. So I applaud you for actually living in the community.
Thank you.
Marlene, anything else before we kick them out of here?
Just you know what? Thanks so much for coming on, Joel. And I look forward to talking to you again. And hopefully we get time, although it's really tough doing a weekly show to get everybody on, but we promised, and we're trying to hold to that promise to let everyone know who you are. And I am so very thankful to get to know you, Joel. There's still hope for California, and your vote this election time can make all the difference in our world. So tell your friends, keep listening. Reach out to Joel Campos, candidate for California State Assembly District 22 at Campos for Assembly. That's Campos, the number 4, assembly.com. And don't go away. We're going to be right back. We're going to talk about real estate. Imagine that.
Shocking.
You can change the way you live out the rest of your life with our new reverse mortgage products from Lending for Living. Our loan limits are the highest available. Call us today at 209-846-9270 or visit lendingforliving.com.
Welcome back to Real Estate Jerky here on PowerTalk 1360 KFIV, where we always give you something to chew on. I'm Marlene Champlin, sidekick to our amazing host, Ed Parcaut, MBA veteran and president of Lending for Living. Ed, so what did you think of Joel Campos? I know you guys have a problem with saying the name, like with
who has a problem?
The Hispanic. Does anybody have a problem with it?
I don't have.
I do not. Only because I've had in my staff 2 different Joels or Joel. One, they both were Hispanic of Mexican descent. One, however, was first generation, and the other was third on one side and fourth on the other. And so he went by Joel. The one that was first generation, we called him Joel. So, I mean, I was already hep to that.
Well, yeah, that's like us. The first generation of Parcauts was Parcaut, and then my generation is Parcaut.
But isn't Parcaut the way the French? It's a French. It's French.
So
right?
That's the difference. One's an English version and one is a French version. So yeah, I went that way because I did, which most people don't know, and I hide the pictures of modeling and acting when I was in the Navy down in San Diego. So
you look like Kid and Play.
I had no. Well, not only that, I look like the Ducky. Yeah, back in the day. Anyway, you have to see Marcia actually. She one year she did a birthday cake with this one picture of me that I was modeling with my bike and everything. It's like, yeah. Anyway, move on.
So okay, so what do you think?
The money.
No one would pay to look at me at any time. So I'm destined to be for the radio for sure. So go for it. Tell me what you thought. I like this kid. I really do. And I
like that he's a veteran. I like the fact that he works in government already. I like the fact that he has been in DC and I remember when they were stuck there in DC doing all the stuff they're supposed to do on patrol and everything. I'm just glad they finally put him in a hotel instead of in the damn parking garage.
Yeah, he didn't talk about that on air. I'm glad. I mean, he wasn't going to, but we talked about it. I talked about it.
Yeah, I mean,
he's
it's
just got a different perspective. He really does. He's got
he has a normal. Probably, I think he has the normal in our area perspective. We're all in the middle pretty much here. I don't care if you're Republican or Democrats. What I always say, we pretty much all agree. There's those extended people on the coast and other places that are a little crazy and they keep coming this way. But we need to stand up for what we want in this area, which is family, God, and country, and that kind of stuff. And that's what we want. We want to be able to run our businesses, run our lives, and not have people tell us what to do. Speaking of that, let's get into affordable housing, shall we?
Yeah, affordable housing. I think he brought up some really great. I don't know how else you're going to unwind it here.
I don't know. I mean, the issue is that the biggest issue is just like what was the last week or something, they talked about the gas tax, and they didn't repeal it because they didn't think it was going to be a big deal. That's the problem. They don't live in the neighborhoods. They don't drive cars. They drive, they walk out and they get in their SUV with their driver and their protection detail, and they don't have to worry about things. And I'm tired of this. We know how it feels to be in our neighborhood. We know what it costs us to fill up our tank. When I can't go past 20 gallons now in my truck and it shuts off, that when I have a 31-gallon tank, I can't even fill it up anymore. That's a problem. And that's a problem that has been caused by the current administration and everything else. Just like the housing issue that we have, when you have to put sprinklers in a house, that costs another $20,000-$30,000. When you have to put solar on, that's not even part of the cost of the house. You have to get a loan for it, or you have to get a lease for it, which is ridiculous. It should be part of the cost of the house if you're going to force it to be there. What do you think,
listening
Marlene?
to Real Estate. I think I have to do a night station ID because we love it here in our heart. We do. You're listening to Real Estate Jerky here on PowerTalk 1360 KFIV with our amazing host, Ed Parcaut, veteran MBA and mortgage expert and president of Lending for Living. If you've got questions for Ed, you can reach out by dialing 209-404-1915. So one of the things that Joel mentioned was, the unincorporated areas and all that. And one of the things that about people moving there, and that's where if you're a first-time home buyer, that's what you're looking at. There's still some pretty great programs. One of them I was thinking about, Ed, was USDA, because that covers that.
And then we're not talking beef. We're actually talking homes, right? Because everybody hears USDA. What are you talking about animals for? No, that's actually that's a rural loan, which a lot of people don't realize. It's good for in unincorporated areas. And what you have to do is you go to the USDA.gov, whatever website, and you put in this address you want to buy, and they'll tell you if it's in the area that can be USDA. It's 100% financing. The only thing you have to worry about is it's real strict on your debt to income ratio. And what that means is, for every dollar you bring in, how many cents goes towards your mortgage? And for every dollar you bring in, how many cents goes towards your mortgage and your other debt? They have a strict 31-41. So that means 31 cents towards the mortgage. That would mean you look at your income, what you get paid per month times 31. That's the max your mortgage, including taxes and insurance, can be. And so, but I do a ton of those up in Tuolumne County. It's a lot harder in this area just because of that ratio thing. Right, because of but in other areas where the houses are a little bit cheaper, it's a lot easier to do those. So, but it's a great program.
And there's still some houses around here.
Mm-hmm.
Who I was thinking about is our friend Harinder. He gets his hands on those and flips them, makes them beautiful and flips them.
Yeah. Well, actually, some of the tracks, the further down towards Merced, the new home tracks, you can buy them USDA. Which people didn't realize,
Delhi Keys. Yeah.
You just put in the information and it'll come up. And especially new home tracks, you would think, no, I can't do it because it's so brand new and everything. No, it's not incorporated fully yet. They don't know anything about it. So it still falls under that USDA guideline. So it's a great program and you should look into it if you're looking to buy. And I mean, there's no money down. You can, some of them, if there's enough equity, you can put the costs on it, your closing costs into it also. But for most people, I tell them just include, just have your closing costs. So that way you don't add, you're not at 103 to start, you're at 100. You follow what I mean by that?
Right. Well, and then again, you have that debt to income, that 31%. Right. And that's genuinely, that's the comfort zone. As long as your house payment isn't much more than that, when you start getting over 40%, that's when it gets dicey.
Well, the 41 we're talking about is your other debt too, right? And in this time though, think about with rates going up right now, you could have been at a 41. Now you're at a 45, right? Because
you know what though, I have a very good friend who says something that I always try to remember. Always, she says, "You can't change what you had for breakfast. So what are we dealing about? What was? You can't change it. So move forward." I mean, so today the interest rates are higher for sure, but will they go back? But you can't count on that.
They will.
They'll go back down.
We're gonna hit what they're calling now the Biden recession, which we were calling just a recession because of what was going on. But we are going to go into a recession and rates will go back down. It's not going to affect housing. It's not going to. We got 11 million jobs out there available. It's not going to affect that kind of stuff. It's just like we went through 2020. We had a recession and we didn't realize it until after the fact, right? Same thing
Well,
here.
Okay, go for
What
it.
do you? Go ahead. We still have
We're
one
out.
more minute.
No, you got a minute worth of stuff to talk about.
Oh, geez. All right, let's say
It's like we're beginners all over again.
no. It's just actually I was reading it and I was like, I don't know what thoroughly enjoyed. Anyway, yes, it's true. End of our
Thoroughly.
show. Yeah, truly the fastest hour of our week, and we have a great time, and I really enjoy it. And I want to thank everybody who enjoys our show with us. And and it's because of you that we're here. So thank you for listening to us. It was great to get to know Joel Campos. Sorry, I said that wrong. He's the candidate for California State Assembly District 22. If you missed any part of today's show, you can catch us on our podcast where you can, and that's wherever you find your favorite app, or you can use iHeart, which is a great one to use also. We'll visit with more candidates for Congress, Senate, and Assembly. And we're doing our very best to make sure between now and June 7th, you know what district you're in, what branch, what it encompasses, and who is running. Next week will be Dr. Vicki Trask. She is the Dean of Workforce Development at MJC. And Dr. Trash's department is filled with programs for students interested in trades. And that's important because you don't have to go to college. You can always just learn a trade. That's very important in today, especially if you get into construction right now. We'll also be looking at business insurance, workers' comp, and more. John Tyson of Omega Pacific Insurance. He's going to kill me at Rotary. Remember, stay calm and be safe out there. We're proud to live in this land of opportunity where you can still build personal wealth through home ownership. We'll keep bringing you something to chew on here at Real Estate Jerky. We'll be broadcasting Saturdays at noon and Sundays at 10 a.m. You'll always find the podcast at, like I said, at any of your favorite places that you find your apps. Just search Real Estate Jerky. See you next week. See you next week, Marlene.
Of course, because this is definitely where my people hang out.
All right. Hey, my NMLS license number is 234-23538. Let me try that again. My NMLS license number is 235-384, and we'll talk to you next week.